I believe it's health, wealth, love, and happiness. Like those four key pillars is what success is. As long as I am personally focusing on that, that's what I believe success is.
Hello everyone and welcome to the CEO Journals podcast. Today you have the pleasure of listening to the voice of Kyle Lee Webber. Kyle's story isn't simply rags to riches. As he says himself, it's more of a rags to riches to then falling back on his face, not once, but twice, to then being able to be successful in what he does today. I delve deep into his story. In this episode, we don't only talk about Kyle's incredible journey. We discuss the troubles of suffering from depression and how he's able to overcome this, the purpose of being an entrepreneur, the right mindset in order to be successful, and so much more. Kyle is kind, funny, charismatic. Kyle is a leader. So I know anyone listening to this episode, once finished, will be inspired and ready to break down any barriers they may be currently facing and achieve their goals. I can't express enough how much value is packed into the next hour. So without further ado, let's dive straight into today's episode. Enjoy. Hello everyone, welcome back to the CEO Journals podcast. Today on the show, we have Kyle Lee Webber. Kyle, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, man. Can you hear me loud and clear?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Awesome.
Okay, so just for the viewers that don't know, could you just give us a quick 60-second introduction of who you are and what you do?
Yeah. So I'm the world famous grandma's boy because I'm actually grandma's favorite grandson. I'm her only one, and I started my journey from my grandmother's basement, and I started from a small town in Lake Elmo, Stillwater, Minnesota. I started with 13 cents in my bank account.
Wow.
And I've had success, and I've also fallen right back on my face before. So this is a rags to riches, falling on my face all the way to, I guess, riches again. And yeah, I mean, that's my story. You know, it's a hero's journey, I guess. So that's me.
Love that. Can't wait to dive into it. So first, let's just throw it back to your childhood and your upbringing. So how did you find school, for example? Did you play any sports? What did you do?
Yeah, so for school, everybody was doing football, basketball, tennis, things like swimming. I did swimming when I was in high school. And what I found for me that made me have the most happiness was I got into paintball. I don't know if you know, like, that whole sport,
No, yeah.
paintball. So I did that as I was growing up, started in junior high, didn't take it that seriously until all my friends stopped taking it seriously. Then I took it seriously, and I started to follow all the professionals, and that was my goal. I wanted to become a professional, so I worked my butt off. And instead of people going, every single weekend to go play their, tournaments for basketball or football or try to, win state, I was traveling from state to state in professional events, and I ended up becoming a semi-professional paintball player, and that was my sport. That's what I did for pretty much almost a living, kind of, as I was growing up. I loved it. I invested every single dollar that I made when I worked a job into that sport. So that was what I did for going into high school and stuff like that.
No, I love that. Do you think your sort of like teamwork wise with paintball and leadership, do you think that really helped you with your journey?
100%. That is the sport, and I'm glad you asked a great question. That was the sport that allowed for me to understand what leadership really is, because leadership to me is helping demonstrate to other people what is possible. And I think a lot of people, when you become a paintball player, in the beginning, you're being led by somebody that's better than you, or you're inspired by someone. And then there's people that are also on your team that get replaced, and you have to lead them to greatness too. So it's basically teach. You're on a beach, but that's kind of my mentality. But it's also teach for me. It was always becoming the best paintball player so that I could inspire other people into greatness, and which in turn has happened. I remember my first team was called Adrenaline Rush, And when everyone, like I said, my friends, they went off to go do different things in high school, or they just stopped playing paintball, I never forgot that name. And I remember taking that name, Adrenaline Rush, and people that were a little bit younger, kids that maybe looked up to myself and our previous team, they took that name, Adrenaline Rush, and they ran with it, and they became, I remember when they got their first place trophy, and it was just fun to watch, So I think leadership is a huge sport in paintball that has allowed me to develop those qualities for sure.
No, that's brilliant. I couldn't agree more. Obviously, helped you massively throughout your journey because you've done extremely well.
Yeah, thank you.
So you finished school. Did you go to college, university? What happened?
I did. So right now I am in Minnesota, my hometown. I'm living currently. I moved from Miami, Florida to Tucson this past year, but I'm in Minnesota driving right now. Should not be driving in podcasting, but you know what? It is what it is. We're gonna make this thing happen. That's why I never give up on my dreams. I'm never gonna give up on this podcast. We're gonna make this thing happen. So I'm in Minnesota right now, my hometown, and yeah, I mean, I think that this is your question. I'm sorry, it kind of cut out. What was your question again? Just because it kind of cut out.
So what happens when you finished school? Did you go
College?
to
Yeah. So
college?
I'm near it right now. I went to Century College. I love what college can do. I believe it's a big waste of money, and I knew this way back in the day. I went into college thinking like I'm gonna do this because my friends and my family want me to do this. That's the only reason why I'm doing this. So I got in. I love psychology. I love sociology. There's a lot of classes that I was taking that I loved, but everything else they're telling me I had to take did not pertain to what I wanted to go and learn. I didn't want to grow in these different areas, but they told me I had to do them. They're called generals and all this stuff. Make it basically, to me, it was a business. So I was like, I respect the fact that this is a business, but I'm not going to buy into this business model. I'm okay if I was going to be a doctor or lawyer. Like you need the field. So I know I'm going on a little bit of a tangent for this, but for me, I went and did psychology and sociology. But I walked into a classroom, and the teacher, for me, I've always liked exotic cars. I've always liked, an exotic lifestyle. I wanted the better things in life so I could take care of myself and my family. I believe in true ultimate freedom, do things when I want, whenever I want. And I remember walking in one day, and I remember seeing this teacher that deserved, in my opinion, way more money than what they were getting paid. And I think I was like, what kind of car do you have? And he didn't have a car that I wanted, if that makes any sense.
No, yeah.
And I wanted an exotic car. At that time, I wanted a Bentley. I wanted a Dodge Viper. All these exotic cars came to my mind because I always read these magazines. And to me, it was like, why would I want to take advice from anybody that doesn't have a lifestyle that I want? I'm okay with learning from people, but if I want to go make a lot of money and have a big bank account, I should go take advice from people who have a lifestyle that I want. So I went and got an MBA, which some people get PhDs and things like that. I got an MBA, which is called a major bank account. I decided to go learn from people. And I said, I shouldn't say I dropped out of college. I dropped into my full potential. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, of course it does.
I dropped in. I didn't drop out. I dropped in. So, and I started learning right away from people that had money, like a lot of money, because money rules this entire world. And that's the only thing that I realized is these guys were such geniuses. These schools were such geniuses at taking my money as a business, because we don't live in a country, you guys. That's what I think. We live in a company. We live in a business. And schools were taking so much money, not only for myself, but my friends and stuff. And I started to see people that are a little bit older than me, because I used to hang out with them in high school, getting out of college. And they were like, they couldn't get a job. They couldn't find a position that pertained to their degree. And I was like, I can foresee the future. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and learn from other people. So that's what I did. And so I know it's kind of a tangent, but I just think that anybody is listening in, just be very, very careful on what you're going to go do. Because college is probably one of the biggest learning lessons I could have learned from if I didn't yeah, just I'm not gonna say anything more.
So did you have a plan when you finished, or was it just boom?
No, no, not at all. I I I was sitting around a bonfire. Everybody else is going off to college again, right? So it's kind of like you get your little break and you go back off to college. And one of my best friends growing up in elementary school went off to like a college where you could get your degree really fast and do construction. So he got into construction management. All my friends are going out to college, but we're sitting around a bonfire and remind you like having those conversations like, yeah, I'm going off to Madison, Wisconsin, U of UW, I'm going off to U of M, Minnesota, I'm going off to whatever big schools, and it's great. But my friend at the time, Travis, looks at me across the bonfire. He says, dude, you want to move down to Florida next Tuesday? And everyone was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And everyone was like, okie dokie, like you guys are for sure not gonna leave next Tuesday. Packed up all my stuff.
Did it?
We didn't even have a map. Back then there wasn't like Google Maps. There wasn't any internet thing. I feel like I'm old now. But yeah, we just knew we were gonna hit a blue looking ocean thing. So we drove from Minnesota. My mom's crying, everyone's just bawling their eyes out, like, no way, you guys are gonna leave their hometown. You guys can't do this. What if it doesn't work? I don't give a like, so I packed up my stuff, he packed up his stuff, took his truck, drove 30 plus hours, didn't know where we were going, and just drove down to Florida.
To do
And
that?
yeah, and at that time there was nothing. Like we didn't know what we were gonna do. All we knew was that we wanted more. We wanted freedom. We wanted to make a lot of money. And it's funny, you don't care about the how because the how doesn't matter. Everyone's always like, how are you gonna do it? It's not, if you already make that decision. It's because in Latin, decision means to cut off from. So you cut off from all this thinking, and you just go. And I remember just we hit like Tampa, Florida. We got to Florida, hit Tampa, Florida, and then we didn't like that. It was at the time it was really really ghetto. Like there was like hookers coming out of the hotel rooms and all this stuff. And we're like, oh god, young kids, 19, 20. I don't know how old we were at the time. Young kids, in our 20s, and like just like, oh god, kept on driving, hit this big huge bridge, came back down into a place called Bradenton, Sarasota, Florida. And I don't know, man. We found this one place. We had luckily good enough credit to get a spot, and we
Yeah, I was
could
going to
sleep in
say,
the
how
bed.
did you go there? Have no idea
We didn't know
where
we
you're
didn't
going to
know
live?
what credit
Nothing.
was. We didn't know nothing.
You must have had
Well,
quite a bit of self-belief to just go with no
oh,
plan and
oh,
just
dude,
wing it.
scared, like beyond scared. But like there was like I couldn't turn back. Like, hey, we burned the bridges. Like we can't go back. And we get there. We find this location. They said, hey, we have to wait until tomorrow to see if it clears. And so we slept in the back of the truck. So he had an F-150 Ford truck, slept in the back of this truck. And in Florida, we'd never been to Florida before, myself and him. And we wake up in the morning and we have like, it looks like we have chicken pox because there's these bugs in Florida called no-see-ums. Like anyone knows like these bugs, like these, you can't see them, but they bite you. And I wake up and I'm like, look like I have chicken pox. And it was crazy because that location said no to us. And so we were like, oh man, kept on going, found another location. They said no to us. And then found this one place that would give us just a 1-bedroom, not a 2-bedroom for me and him, just a 1-bedroom. And we didn't have a ton of money at the time. So we bought this futon from Walmart. He slept on the futon. I just slept on the ground. So we had nobody down there, no friends, nothing. And I just remember seeing this motorized cooler scooter when we woke up in the morning. Like if you can imagine this, a cooler, you have 2 wheels in the back, one in the front,
Yeah.
that you can put like stuff in, like a cooler, but it goes 15 miles per hour. And we were like, dude, that is so sick. And we saw people renting like scooters and stuff, because that's what happens down in Florida. People rent like scooters or cars because they're on vacation. And we were like, what if we like started a cooler scooter rental business? And that's what we did. We called it. We figured out who the manufacturer was. We essentially white labeled it, like private labeled it, making our own company called Cool Whips, because whipping around his little cooler scooters,
Nice.
and slapped our logo on there. and we started renting these things out, and things got really good. We ended up at 20 years old back then. We ended up buying a freaking Hummer. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I'm just trying to tell you kind of the whole story.
Do
Uh,
it.
and yeah, like we just started. That was our first business. That was our first business. So that's my first like real kind of entrepreneurship journey was that company right there. Started a cooler scooter business.
Where did that go downhill then?
Because when we started to rent these things out, we ended up franchising out the model to like Fort Myers, we had Bradenton, Panama City Beach. We were up there. What ended up happening is that they started to know myself, my business partner's name, because people get hurt so much because they're hammered. They're on these 3-wheeled cooler scooters going 15 miles per hour. Huge, huge risk. And we're just like, man, this is not good. So what really happened from that, which was a blessing too, was I had a girlfriend at the time, and my business partner, we ended up getting like jobs just to pay for our own lives, like our own personal lives, but fueled actually our business even more too, because the business was doing good. But he got off work, came over to my place I was staying with this girlfriend at the time. He's like, bro, I think we have to make a decision here, man. I think we should, stop this business and start a different one. And we didn't know what to do. He's like, maybe we should just like start a clothing company. And he was like, man, I'm just kidding. And I was like, dude, but seriously, that sounds sick. So that was when I first ever drew the logo on her wall. You're not supposed to draw on people's walls, but I just took out like this pen and started drawing on her wall. And she was like, what the heck? And I was like, dude, I got this vision for this logo. And we drew out this logo. And that's when this vision of Just Kidding clothing came about. Like, just kidding. When you say, hey, man, you're a douchebag, just kidding. You really meant it. So you meant, but seriously. Yeah. Like, so it's JKBS, but Just Kidding clothing. There's probably stuff on YouTube still with it. Like if you look up Rockin' JK or Just Kidding clothing on YouTube or something, there's probably some old stuff. But that was our kind of like our bigger success that we had. That was like the business that really kind of took it to the next level for us, where we started to learn like true entrepreneurship.
So that's not what you do anymore. What happened to that? What happened to that one?
Yeah, so that business, it's sometimes when you're in business partnerships and there's going to be some things that get in the way. I don't know if I want to talk too much about like what I think got in the way, but let's just say, I think me personally, from my standpoint, guys, my business partner at the time was really, really cool dude. And what happened was I think that I really ticked off this ex-girlfriend of mine, where I like just kind of let her go, like, see ya. And she somehow figured out how to get back to me by going and like getting with my business partner. So that really ticked me off as a business partner, because she was in his ear, like making him think that he was almighty, knew what he was doing, and he could do it all by himself type thing. So that hinders a lot of business. When you are in business partnership, you have to respect each other and love each other, whether it's two guys or guy to girl business partnership or two girls. And you have to understand who plays what role. Like, The Rock, like the WWE guy, if you understand him, he plays his role. He understands his role. You stay in your lane. And what happened was I would do a lot of the design work, the vision of like where the brand was going. And he would do a lot of the behind the scenes, like the stuff that's maybe not the most fun, like the technical stuff, the like making sure the management of the money and where things are allocated and things like that for the business. And what happened was, when she was in his ear, it became like, hey, you should make some more designs. You should try your own thing. And when that happens, it hinders what people are both great at and what people both should do. And even though that you can do a little bit of somebody else's business, you don't take that from them. Right? Does that make sense? And again, like it's my fault for being mean to this chica at the time and letting her go when she probably didn't want to go. And I was just a young kid, and I'm like, just playboy, just wanted to go do my own thing. And maybe that was how she got back to me, and karma just remember this: karma always will come back to get you. And I think I deserve that. I think I deserve that business not going too well, and that's what happened. Is the business kind of dwindled downward, and I had to look elsewhere for something different. For me, as Kyle, as a personal, I got to take care of the ink, my own ink, and like figure out who I am and what I want to do, what makes me happy again. I had to look elsewhere to build something. And that's what happened.
No, and I can agree more. So people should definitely take note of how to definitely treat your business partners as well, because when going into business, obviously that's a massive thing. If you're going to go in a partnership, you need to trust each other. You need to be respectful of each other, respect each other's decisions 100% of the way. That needs to be something you definitely need to go for throughout. I've heard your story before, so I know what happens.
Yeah.
You call yourself the world famous grandma's boy because you had to move back in with her. How did that actually feel, to move back? Did that sort of like feel as if it damaged your reputation, like going back to when you proved to these friends that you went out and you did it, and then
Yeah,
you had to
yeah.
go back? How did that feel?
That's probably the toughest part that anyone in this thing called life that we're living can go through, is when your pride gets damaged that hard.
Mm,
Because when I grew up, I guess I was a goofball. I was friends with everybody. I understood how to be with each clique, and I loved people. What ended up happening was, yeah, if you can imagine this, like getting to a point where you have enough money to start traveling and doing things that people out there in the perceptional world think is dope, like private jets, exotic cars, penthouse, living. Did it all. I did that, right? And you're at that time, your friends are like, dude, congratulations, blah, blah, blah. Like, but before they start saying congratulations, it was like, hey, that thing's not going to work, whatever you're doing, blah, blah, blah. Good luck. So I did that. And now they're all like, congratulations. But then when I came, boom, lost it all and had to move back into my grandmother's basement, my pride is completely like destroyed, because they're like, oh, told you so. Told you so. Mom and dad's like, yo, you should get a job. Have you ever thought about getting a job? All this stuff. So yeah, that was super, super tough, because it'd be different if I lost it all and I went back to my own house.
yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah,
It'd be okay if I went back to maybe my parents' house. Still, that'd be pretty devastating too. But it's the ultimate when you go back to your grandmother's house. Love my grandmother. She ended up passing away this past year. But that lady brought me back, nurtured me back to health, because my parents got a divorce when I was like 17 years old, right? So I couldn't go to their houses. What I mean by that is, like, so my mom actually had an affair on my dad with my best friend's dad down the street. And that's always affected me to really build up that like core, I want to hang out with my mom relationship all the time. So it's been a very kind of like, whenever I come back to Minnesota, I don't go to her house. Whenever I come back to Minnesota, I don't go back to my dad's house. My dad's a huge hoarder. I don't know if you ever seen like Hoarders, the show, but like my dad's house looks just like one of those houses. And I can't tell my dad, hey, I want to get you help, because he's just too stubborn. That's just how
yeah,
all these people that do that. I love my dad to life. And I think that for me, it was like, that's what made me gravitate towards my grandmother. She was the only person at the time that would let me, move in with her. Because remind you, if you don't know my story, there was a time, rewind, where I made like a lot of money. But even before that, I read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I
love
owned
that.
my own house, dude. When I was like, I owned my own house before like any of these young kids own their own house. I bought a house when I was 20, 21 or something, with my business partner at the time with the clothing company. But I also, at that time, it was the cool time to go to the casinos. So I made about $90,000 plus playing blackjack in 4 months, and I lost it all back in 3 days, plus even more of my own money. So I knew nothing about credit and stuff. I had to move back into I had to move into my grandmother's house. I had to call her up and say, hey, you know, I have to rent out my room here at my own house. I have to rent out my own room just so I can have enough of the money to put back into our business and stuff. And she said yes, but I couldn't bring my dog along. That was one thing that bummed me out. I had an Akita Husky. I couldn't bring that along, and I had to leave it there with my business partner. So yeah, but like, that is a devastating feeling. So if there's anyone out there that you feel like you're as low as low, I mean, can you imagine being at your grandmother's house? And at the time before that, like, I had a girlfriend too, And like, I'm just thankful that she even liked me during. So if you have a down chick, like a lady that is with you and she's willing to be there with you during those struggles, like at your grandmother's basement, still willing to love you and still understands or sees you for where you're about to go, that's something that I messed up on too as well. I have to like tell myself that all the time. I'm like, dude, I messed up on that one, because that chica like was there for me during the hardest of times, and that's something I really respect her for. But I have my own like own sins that I've made in my life too as well. Like, and I should definitely teach people from that. That's why I love doing this type of stuff. Is
Yeah.
if you feel like you're at your lowest low, I had 13 cents in my bank account. Like there's pictures all online about it. Like 13 cents in my bank account and my grandmother's basement. You know how hard that is to get out of that like funk. Very difficult. But if I can do it, so can you.
Can we?
That's
Do you
all I
mind if
care
we?
about.
Do you mind if we touch on mental health just a little bit? Because I
Of
feel that
course.
I feel at the moment in today's society we're getting better at it. As in, we're all starting to talk about it a little bit more, so it's getting out there.
Oh, of
People
course.
are understanding it more, which I think's been obviously very difficult recently, because it's not until, I would say, until social media that's become a big thing, and everyone's becoming more comfortable opening up about it, talking about how they
Of course.
felt. So have you got any advice for how to get over it as such? How did you find were the best ways to deal with it yourself?
Yeah. I'll tell you, when I made my next run, when I got out of my grandmother's house, it was the hardest point in my entire life, because not only did I get out, I started to have a little bit of success. I was living in a penthouse again in Miami, and I'm on like the one of the highest floors in this damn place, and I still was looking over all of Miami, beautiful Miami. Like, if you can imagine having the most gorgeous view of the ocean in all of downtown of something, right? And I'm doing well, and I still don't want to talk about this, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, whatever, I'm an open book. I don't care. I wanted to commit suicide. I wanted to jump off the fucking, like, I wanted to, excuse my French, but I wanted to jump off. Like, I was like, dude, let's go. What am I living this life for? Um, because what I was dealing with at that moment, I now understood it, but I didn't understand it. So depression will lie in the past. What you could have done, man. Like, oh, what if back then when you were at the height and everything was great, your friends were telling you you're awesome, it just kept on going. Like, that's depression. You're lying in what coulda, woulda, shoulda happened. So that's where I was, to the point where like I wanted to literally jump off a gosh darn, like penthouse balcony. Anxiety, the biggest thing people are dealing with right now. Depression, anxiety. Anxiety lies in the future. So I didn't have too much of that, but anxiety, if you do have anxiety, you're focused too much on, am I gonna get married? Am I gonna have a kid? Am I gonna get this raise? All these things in the future. You're thinking too much in the future. But then I realized when I was sitting there and I calmed myself down, and something else happened, by the way, and I'll tell you that after this. But when you live in the now, there's a reason why they call it the present. It's a fucking gift. It's a gift that God gives you. And if you live in the now and you realize all you have is now, like right now, we're talking right now, we're in the now, you can't look left, you cannot look right. You don't have the ability to think about depression, you don't have the ability to think about anxiety. And that was where I think that I was able to break through. And on top of it, there's one or two more floors on top of this building. And I remember, you're thinking to yourself, the people on top of this building, they got to have the life, man. They got to have it all. Well, I'm sleeping in my bed the night after I had this idea of me wanting to, let my life go. And I'm in my bed, and I remember this guy being like, I'm going to fucking do it. I'm going to do it. And I'm like frozen in my bed. And I'm just thinking to myself, I can't get up. Have you ever been like in your bed and you're just like frozen? Like you wake up from something and you're just like maybe had a really bad nightmare and you cannot get up or you can't even move. I couldn't move. And all I wanted to do was think to myself, I need to go help this dude. And all I could do was pray. All I know is like, God, just do not let this guy do it. And remind you, he's not below me, he's above me. So when everyone thinks that people that are having the life that look up and you think that this person has the most beautiful, gorgeous, they have the nicest car, nicest woman, nicest kids, there's a lot of people that are friends closest that are depressed, that have that anxiety, and that aren't even living in the now, that want to leave this world too. And I think that what you're talking about, mental health, that is something that's going to go into the future as probably one of the biggest things that are going to affect this world. Is going to be stress, is going to be anxiety, we're going to witness probably a lot of people, really taking their lives because they're so addicted to the approval of other people. We are so addicted to the approval of other people. It's sickening. It's like, I'm so sick and tired of watching people struggle, and I think what happens is we see these social media platforms we're on, and it affects us deeply because we're comparing ourselves so deeply to somebody else's highlight reel. I'm telling you right now, me personally, for my own mental health, I've even thought about getting off of all social media that has to do with huge stimulation. Like Instagram is a terrible, if you have mental health issues or problems, or you're focusing on comparing yourself to other people, you should unfollow everyone and just have your followers that are following you, but you should, for your energy, have nobody you're following. You cannot see anybody else's life. Focus on your own. Like, how can you make anybody else happy until you're happy yourself? Selfish. Take the ish out of your life, focus on yourself before you can care about anybody else. Same thing going into your next relationship, all that stuff. Just focus on yourself. Get lost in yourself to find yourself. And other things that YouTube might be a great platform if you want to learn and gather information. Facebook is a waste of time when it comes to you and your mental health too. It's a huge waste of time. I believe what's going to happen though is a lot of people, they'll take their life because of the fact that nobody knows about this. And I'll tell you one thing that'll scare the shit out of you, that'll make you understand not to do something, is there's engineers, right? Like engineers to build this building behind me. There's engineers that are in school right now that that work for plants, big organizations. And when they get out of school, they go work for these companies. Nobody knows that there's engineers, there's addictive engineers, people that get hired to go to Las Vegas here in the United States, which is a gambling, central hub for people that get addicted and they cannot leave. And they're wondering why they cannot leave. They're addicted. Addictive engineers program these things so that you don't leave. Like there's engineers that even create the highways to go the wrong way so you don't make your flight. No one knows this type of stuff. They do it on purpose to keep you there, to keep you stuck, to keep you like literally about to kill yourself. These engineers the past 5 to 7 years have been hired from the biggest companies we are on when it comes to our platforms. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube. This is a business. They got to keep you here. All they want is attention. And how do they get your attention? By hiring the right people that can make your attention addictive, like a drug. It's the biggest drug known to man is social media, and no one's talking about it. And if I'm the only person that's going to come out and say it, you're like, if you're not smart mentally, you don't realize how you're being conditioned. It's called training, right? That's why I talk about school a lot, as to why it might be a big waste of your time and why you maybe want to follow a different dream. It's the same thing as how that would work. Think about how you're being trained. If you feel like you're going on your phone all the time, every 5 freaking minutes, and your friends are telling you, hey, I can't, why can't, you're like, oh, dude, I'm sorry, I'm on my phone, my bad. It's because you're addicted to it. You're sucked in. It's the same thing. It's called a television program. It's hypnosis. It's programming you. So think about how they programmed you for school. You went to school from Monday through Friday. You never went to school Saturday and Sunday. So Monday through Friday, you went to school from 7 o'clock in the morning until 3:30 in the afternoon. That's like an 8-hour day. 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours. That's a 40-hour school week. It was called metalworking, woodworking class. It wasn't called fun working, enjoying working class. So if you have a teacher, she's the same thing as a boss. Go do homework, do this, go do this. No one likes to be told what to do. If you have a manager at your job, it's incentivization. You go do this, I'll give you a pizza. Well, I don't want a flipping pizza. So what ends up happening is you get off of school, you graduate, you go get your job, and from Monday through Friday, where are you going? You're going from your home to where? Work. Home, work, home, work, home, work, home, work, home, work. Now, what happens if I were to teach you what you really need? Not someone that tells you go do this and go do that at work. Not someone like a teacher, go do homework. You need a leader. You need a mentor. You need someone that says, let's go do it together. Let's go make money together. Let's go travel the world together. Let's go inspire people together. Let's go make an impact together. That's what people need, but they don't know they need it. So if you take homework and you flip it, it's work home, work from home. Right now, you're working from home. Right now, I'm pretty much working from a car, but I'm working from home.
Yeah.
You can flip your life around. Pretty soon, these jobs are going to say you can work from home, because that's the best quality of your life, as long as you can, maintain it the right way. So I think for just that little idea right there, that vision right there, if you caught on to that, it's also the way you're being manipulated when it comes to social media. If you're being manipulated on how to go to school, get good grades, learn how to work for somebody else, work 40 years of life, retire off 40% of that income that you could barely afford to live on in the first place. I mean, come on, dude, you know the game. Like, you can't run the game unless you know the game. So you got to understand what you're being conditioned for. And I think that, yeah, social media, man, like, just watch, dude. There's going to be, and not to mention even the economy. The economy will crash here soon. Everyone's going to be like so scared, but it's like, dude, history repeats itself, man. Just get ready, be smart, save your money, invest it into silver, gold, real estate, things that are not in control of the banks, dude. Like, all this stuff is important. So, going on
I
a
love
rant, but I care.
that. I love that. And thank you for being so open about the mental health
Of
issues.
course.
As I say, that's only going to help people. I know you mentioned feelings if you didn't have a purpose when you were talking about mental health issues. I want to dive into what you're running now, Rank Up Now. Do you feel as if that gave you a purpose? Because obviously you're helping others with that business. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, thank you for again all these awesome questions too as well. You're
That's
incredible.
fine.
Yeah, I think, like, I believe you're born on purpose to find your purpose, and it doesn't matter how long it's going to take you. I believe what has happened with Rank Up Now is, yeah, we have a software business that we help people that want to learn how to make money and generate leads and create more sales in their business. They get our software, right? But I think what the hidden thing is we're helping people shift, like, have these paradigm shifts by utilizing our software. It's like you get in to buy a product, but you don't realize that you're going to come in, you're going to change and transform your life. That's all that we care is rank up now, run, like RUN stands for Rank Up Now. Our vision is this whole entire run family, this run movement, these runners, that if you feel like you can get better 1% to 2% each day and rank up now in your life, your business, your relationships, utilizing our software in our training, in our courses, our modules, when you're in the back end, I mean, you can transform your whole life. And we don't just sell courses. I think there's a lot of people out there online, they sell courses on how to, like, if you can't make money, then go teach it. It's like, dude, we did it. And now we're, not only do we teach it, but we actually have a software that, like, we own a real business. And I think that's something that is important for people, is that they get something on a reoccurring subscription model that they get to come back to day in and day out to grow themselves, to rank up now.
No, I love that. So I've got 3 questions on 3 topics I don't think are spoken about enough at the moment. So that is to do with money, relationships, and death. They're 3 very simple questions I'm going to round off every single show with from now on. So
Yeah.
First question, what does success mean to you?
Dude, success means success just to me personally.
Yeah.
I believe it's health, wealth, love, and happiness. Like, those 4 key pillars is what success is. As long as I am personally focusing on that, that's what I believe success is. So, focus on my health. I was like 40 plus over pounds overweight until my best friend told me, hey, you're getting chubby. And I focused on my health. I was aware of it. I started drinking more water. That's all I did. And I went to the gym, and it helped a little bit, but just drank a lot of water and ate smaller portions of size. Wealth, focused on wealth is not about looking rich on social media. It's about being rich. So you can look the fucking part if you want to, but we all know you're broke as shit behind the scenes. All right. Tell that to freaking like Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates and like Elon Musk. These guys aren't out here, flashing gold chains and Instagram modeling and stuff like that. They have a real business to focus on. So wealth, focus on your customers. All that matters. Deliver them the best quality product. Because if you're focused on your own life, your own Instagram, your own Facebook, your own whatever the heck it is, you're taking away from the most important part. It's the customer. Love. Remember, you can't love anybody else until you love yourself. You gotta love everything. Love is so much greater than hate, so don't hate, congratulate. Just love. Happiness. That is a big thing that I think we are on the pursuit of happiness, but we may never find it. So don't think that you're just happy. Boom, I'm happy. Look at me, I'm happy. Because everybody with the freaking laughter and the smiles, it's probably the fakest world we live in right now, with the fake smiles and the fake everything's all good. The people that are so happy are the ones you probably have to worry about, because those are the ones that usually don't have it together. They're just really good at faking it. And I fallen victim to that too. So I'm not like making fun or like degrading those people. I just know the people that you can feel that are very, very grounded. They don't laugh as much. They don't smile a lot because they don't have nothing to say, because they're focused on themselves. They love themselves. And those are people you want to surround yourself with. So, and success, if I were to say for other people, success to them could just be like, I'm a great mom. Like my best friend, I'm actually living with my, staying with my best friend before I go back to Tucson here. I came back for my best friend's bachelor party, and dude, he has a new child, like a kid he brought into the world. Like he's a dad. Like I know how messed up that dude was growing up. Like, and to see him with a child, and like to him that could be happiness, just being a father, and like his beautiful wife, like she has a kid now, and wow, dude, I don't know why. This is full circle, by the way. Past girlfriend that I had, even though I broke it off with her sister, I introduced him to my best friend to her sister, and that's the two that had a child. So even if that relationship didn't work, what God wanted for me was to introduce those two, which they brought a child into the world. I guess I'm Uncle Kyle now, even though I'm not an uncle, but like I don't know what the heck is. That's crazy. But yeah, so success can mean anything for anyone. It doesn't have to be monetary, money and stuff. I think success is just different for everybody. But that was my 4 key things for success for me: health, wealth, love, and happiness.
No, I love that. And that feeds perfectly into my next question about relationships. Obviously, I noticed that you're extremely close with your family now. You post them on your Instagram all the time. I think it's beautiful to see, because I think someone that's able to show that to the public and just have no real shame about, and I don't mean like shame, but they're not embarrassed to post it in front of the world to see. Like, you've got a lot of followers, a lot of people will see your stories, but you just post it out there, like, don't give a damn. They are your family. You love them so much. But throughout your journey, have you struggled to maintain relationships, whether that's with your family, with your friends, significant others, or have you managed to find a way to sort of like have them with you on that journey?
Yes and no. I mean, like, my family is probably the most freaking messed up family ever. Like, maybe some people can relate. Like, it's like they're not perfect, but I just love them. Like, anyway, you love him anyway. You're just like, dude, my dad is just like, he will not get his freaking act together. He's a hoarder, like, but I love him anyway. Like, he's an incredible human being that's always been there for me day in and day out. My sister, the same thing. My mom, the same thing. My sister is the most lovable, eccentric, caring person that I know. Like, she's just a rock, like, for me during my hardest times in life. And my mom has always been there to tell me, same thing as my grandmother, like Kyle, be a leader, not a follower. Just lead people to the promised land type thing. And she'd always tell me, Kyle, never sell yourself short. So that's where I would have jobs and get fired or I'd leave a job because I knew my self worth. I will freaking work my butt off to do that. And what ended up happening is throughout my career with my family, the hardest times is when I'm not doing well. I put all my pain onto them. So I'd be calling them, bitching at them, or being frustrated or something with them when really it's like I'm dying inside, like I'm hurting inside, and that's not fair to them. But then there's times where I'm doing very well and they're not doing too hot. You know, if I can help them, whether it's monetary, money wise, or just good energy, I'm there for them. So I think it's just a two-way street. It's that duality, up, down, sideways, left, right. There's just a duality, and I think that I wouldn't be the person that I am like without them. And I think a lot of people always think about, well, there's people out there that have a better family, they're more well off, they bought them a house and all that. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, we all deep down, we all know we're dealing with some messed up stuff in families. Like, ah, man, families are just fun. It is what it is, but it's crazy at the same time.
No, and I love that you're really close to your family. I can't. I'm super close to my family. My whole
Yeah,
family, inseparable. We do everything, and I can't thank them enough. I've had a really nice upbringing. Parents are still together, always been together. They will always
it's
be together. I can
beautiful, man.
tell
I
they
love
will
that.
be. Got a younger sister, and we still get on really well. And I can't thank them enough, basically. But I love
Yeah,
that.
no, of course, of course. Family's everything, man. And you said that
Um,
too before we even jumped on the podcast on this live. You said like, yo, family's everything, because I was about to go do something with my mom, right? I'll go to the Minnesota Zoo. Like, I love pets, so I love animals. So she's about to bring me to the Minnesota Zoo, and yeah, like you said, like, hey, dude, no worries if we can't do right now. Like, your family's everything, and I respect you 100% for saying that. So I appreciate you.
no, of course, and I'd love it if people said that vice versa as well, because that's what I want it to come back to me. If I have to do something with my family, I hope that that person just goes, "Yeah, fine, do it. We'll sort out another time."
Right, right.
Um, One last question. It's probably the most simple question. Are you scared of dying? Maybe not simple.
I was I It's funny you said it. I was until this weekend. So
Ooh.
at this bachelor party, um I don't know why, but like we did this Apple River thing up here in Wisconsin, and it's like, I think it's like Wisconsin, Minnesota. Never did it my entire life. I grew up here and did Apple River for the bachelor party. If you can imagine the gigantic lazy river, whole bunch of people, having fun for the bachelor party. All tubes are tied, and you're just like floating down the river, long river. Well, after that river raft ride, the time that I got there, the first day on a Friday, everybody was gonna take this natural drug that comes from the ground. It's called shrooms. So I was like, okie dokie, I'll guess I'll try it. And can I talk about this on here?
I think it's. I think yeah, you can. I think it's open because obviously
Okay.
a lot of people
So
have concerns about these sort of
yeah,
things.
it
So,
would be different. It would be different if I was doing like a whole bunch of other drugs. I think that this drug is like the only, and I don't know if they call it a drug, but it's from the ground in this earth that we live on. And what happened was, if you can imagine, like, it was like I was there at the afterlife. And what it felt like to me was all of my friends were around and we just loved each other. This is what it felt like. Like, if you can imagine, like, passing away, like, we all had stuff to talk about, of all the funny things, the things that we thought were a big deal that we were got mad at each other for. We were laughing it off. Like, it was just pure love. Again, that's all that if you want to win in life that we're living in right now before you pass away, just start with the whole idea of love and just be like, because the person never meant what they meant. Whatever they did is what they did. That is what it is. And same thing when you're doing alcohol. There's a reason why they call it wine and spirits when you go buy alcohol, because when you purchase those wine and spirits, the spirits is bad spirits, bad entities that get attached to you. That's why if you get hammered out of your mind and you're like, oh, you wake up in the morning like, dude, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I don't know who that was. I don't. It's because a spirit is attached to you when you're doing drugs. And the thing that I realized is that when I was on this drug, we were all like remembering these stupid times that we had. We were also remembering all of the amazingness things that this life that we had previously. It's almost like I was there in the afterlife, and I would look down, there's a Coca-Cola bottle, and I'm like, cool, that was somebody's purpose, their vision, their dreams, their goals. They worked so hard on that thing. The charcoal, I looked at the charcoal company, and because it's charcoal to make for the grill, and it was like, that's somebody's dream. That was someone's like livelihood. That's the reason why they worked their butt off their entire life, and they changed a lot of people's lives. Think about how many people had fun with charcoal, making fires and eating food together at a family gathering. And like, there was all these different brands that I could witness, like, that it made me realize we're on this earth to raise it, to have people have fun, to love each other, to raise the vibration of this world. So again, the drug might be a drug to other people, but it wasn't. It enhanced what I felt like was going to be what happens when I pass away. And I was so okay with it. I was like, dude, this is going to be the coolest thing when I pass away. Like, I was worried about my grandmother. When she passed away, the love of my life. My grandfather also was my best friend too. And it was as if they were there with us too. It was so dope. It was like everyone was just hanging out. I would think of a certain person, and like, it was just like we were having conversations in the ether of everyone was all good. Everyone was based around love. You know, that's all I'm going to tell people is that that's what it felt like. So I think like death is going to be so dope. Like, you're moving on to go see your previous family, but everybody else is going to be coming there with you. So we're all going to be there laughing our butts off, giggling, appreciating each other. And it's funny because everyone has their own journey. And when we were there, it was like one of my friends is heavier set, and I loved him. We all loved him for him. He might just be a heavier set dude. Like, and it's okay. So many people judge other people and what they're doing, smoking cigarettes, or someone's, eating this bad stuff, or they go down this wrong path in the world that we live in right now. But when we all pass away, we're all laughing and remembering our spirits, because we're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. Our spirits are going to leave our bodies, but we don't leave this place. This is what it felt like. So yeah, that was pretty dope.
Wow.
Pretty dope.
That was not the response I was expecting, and I'm probably never going to get one like it, but that's probably going to be the best response I'm ever going to have to that question. I can tell you now.
Oh, cool. Thanks, man. Yeah, no, I probably shouldn't have told people I took that drug, but I did. So Joe Rogan will be happy, I think.
Yeah, he's doing his podcast. But no, thank you for your time.
You're welcome, man.
Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for agreeing to be on the CEO Journals podcast. Any final words of wisdom for the listeners?
Don't wait for the window of opportunity. Break through the wall.
Love it.
Just go for it. Just run for your dreams. Run for your goals. And just be super, super scared. Like, be in that realm and know what fear feels like. Because once you actually go over that realm, like you tip over to the different scale of like what success, I guess, could be like, or happiness is and stuff like that, you'll realize it was just like false evidence appearing real. It's like, dude, I was really worried about that. Like, that was stupid. So anything you're frightened of, you're scared to do, you're scared to hit up that girl, you're scared to hit up that boy and be like, yo, I really like you. Or you're scared to start that business. Like, you're scared to go to certain school. You're scared to leave your hometown. Just do it. Like, we call it just run it. As because rank up now. Run. Just run it. Just run it. Like, just go for it. I just go for it. Find a running partner. If you need someone to hold you accountable for going towards that dream and goal, let somebody know. That's why I have a business partner in my business right now, is that we hold each other accountable. Find somebody to run with. If you cannot do it yourself, do it with one other person, and create that culture. That's what I do, is create that culture. Culture is culture of people, the same values, the same beliefs. All right. Find people that will die for your vision, die for your beliefs, and you'll create this gigantic tribe, which in turn is your audience, and your audience will buy anything from you because they're bought into you. So be the one, get it done. See you in the next thing. We'll also see you on the beaches of the world. Let's get it.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate you. God bless everybody.
I just wanted to thank you all for listening to today's episode of the podcast. I'll leave all the relevant links mentioned in the show notes below. That's going to include the guests and my own Instagram handle, where you can reach out to us with any questions you may have. In the show notes will also be any useful resources the guest or myself may have mentioned throughout the episode, so definitely check those out. I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. It's only going to take a couple of seconds. If you do, it means you're going to be notified whenever I post a new episode. I'd also love if you could leave your thoughts in the rating and review section. I'm going to be reading all of these, and it will help me understand what all of you are actually interested in. Leaving a rating and review will also help the podcast reach even more people, which only means better guests for all you listeners. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you again for listening to CEO Journals.